Welcome everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John King. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. As such, you please add, follow, and check us out. Twitter, Facebook, Best Damn Podcast, The Real Best Damn, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast. I want to thank all of you guys for joining me. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, give us a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and share this link. That way other people can find us. Make sure to subscribe, click the bell. That way you guys can get all of the notifications. I got a pretty good one for you guys tonight. Lots of interesting things going on. It's like, I feel like it's just like a totally different world, than what we were ever living in just, a short year or two ago. We have seen the agenda accelerated in so many different ways. It's kind of even hard to fathom, right? Like, people like myself and you were warning everyone that this was coming. It's like, now we're here, and now everything's unfolding, and it's like, do you feel vindicated? Because I don't. I don't feel vindicated. I feel almost like our warnings went unheeded, and now here we are. We're getting set up for the next rounds of restrictions, surveillance, right? And people being put in a position, and people being comfortable in the position of total surveillance, lack of sovereignty. It's just, it's amazing. Especially in the United States of America, where there was free speech and all of this at one point in time. It's like we've adjusted now. We've adjusted to censorship. We've adjusted to suppression. We've adjusted to all of it, right? But I guess that was the point. That was the whole point of the pandemic, was to put us in the position we're in now, right? To get us used to this surveillance state, this police state, this systematic control. That way we could be slowly walked into an era of, absolute and total lack of sovereignty, total lack of privacy, and we're here now. So, no sense crying about it. Today we're going to be talking about some interesting things, guys. We're going to be talking about the next pandemic, the next scamdemic, and what's coming up. And we got so many different things on the agenda, so many different things on the docket. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I see Chris S., Old Hillbilly, Still Perger, SJLO. Thank you guys. I appreciate all of you guys for joining me. Make sure to hit that like, hit the thumbs up if you're watching in the chat, leave a comment, let me know what you think, share the link, subscribe, and donate to support this channel, to support my work. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, or Facebook Messenger. You have no idea how much the donations just help me in general, and help this channel to keep doing what it's doing. I do apologize for how long it's taken me to make a video or come back live. I've just been working so much, guys, so much. It's been a really busy summer so far for me, myself personally. And it's like, are we truly trying to evolve? Or are we trying to be entertained? It's like, I really want to ask people, like, what are you watching this video or any other video for? Are you watching it because you want to be shocked, you want to be entertained, or are you watching it because you're trying to evolve, trying to ascend, or trying to develop yourself into a greater human being, a better person, and enlighten yourself with more knowledge, more insight on what's going on, not just within our world, but within yourself. So only you can answer that question. We're going to start off first here. It's like, good to see ya. Still can't get my son. Jay Catherine, good to see ya. Paulo W. Yeah, hey, I'm so happy to see all of you guys. I can't tell you how much I've missed all of you. And missed being able to do these videos. I spend so much time in the normie world, working a 9 to 5, and it's like, you must get away from the fact that, excuse me, there are people out there that actually know what's going on. There are people out there that actually care, and there are people out there that really would like to see it affect change. But it's really up to each and every one of us individually to work on ourselves and create change within ourselves. That way we can create change within the whole. So we're going to start here. The Rockefeller Foundation partners with the WHO to coordinate future pandemics and climate change, and this is what's coming up. We're going to see more and more of the pandemic thing. They beat you with the first time, right? Like, so if they okie doked you with the first pandemic, you don't think they're going to come back to you? I would reference you to World War I, World War II, right? They were in the same playbook on our forefathers that they're running on us now. So if they continue to school you on the old playbook, they're not going to switch it up one bit. So if you bought into the first time, you'll buy into the next one. It says the U.S., $5 million investment will accelerate priority projects of the WHO hub for pandemic and for epidemic intelligence to drive global collaboration in genomic surveillance, the adoption of data tools for pathogen detection and assessment of climate-aggravated outbreak threats. John, you look good, healthy. Hey, thank you. I'm really healthy right now, honestly. It's like we got to take care of ourselves, guys. Nobody's going to take care of us. So it's like, if we don't look out for ourselves, who's going to look out for us? So I hope each and every person that watches this video or sees this video knows that if you don't love you, got the yawns, nobody else will love you. So it's like very important to make sure you're having like a good diet, exercise, you're taking care of you, because if you want to be a better version of yourself than you were yesterday, it starts with like self-care. It sounds like super cliche, but it's the truth. We have to learn to love ourselves before we can love others, period. So you see the Rockefeller Foundation involved. Anytime they're involved, we know it's something good. The Rockefeller Foundation and the World Health Organization has announced a new partnership to strengthen the WHO hub for pandemic and epidemic intelligence. And hopefully I don't do this the entire video. As part of the collaboration, the foundation is investing US $5 million in partners working with the WHO to cultivate global networks for pathogen detection and strengthen pandemic preparedness capabilities, including broadening surveillance for diseases worsened by rising temperatures and extreme weather. So this is their way of saying, like, even though it's hot outside, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Rising temperatures, there's still different types of diseases now for you to worry about. Established in 2021, the WHO Hub for Pandemic and Epidemic Intelligence facilitates a global collaboration of partners from multiple sectors to address future pandemic and epidemic risks with better access to data, better analytical capacities, and better tools and insights for decision making. The partnership with the Rockefeller Foundation will accelerate these efforts with catalytic funding and technical assistance. The COVID-19 pandemic underscored that disease surveillance, collaboration between stakeholders, and data sharing were absolutely essential ingredients for health security, and the global community was unprepared, said Dr. Chikwe Ihikwazu, the WHO Assistant Director General and head of the WHO Hub for Pandemic and Epidemic Intelligence. With increasing threats for climate change, we're excited to partner with the Rockefeller Foundation and usher in a new era for global collaboration in pandemic intelligence. Rockefeller Foundation will support projects under the WHO Hub for Pandemic and Epidemic Intelligence stewardship, including scaling global capacity for genomic surveillance through the newly launched Internal Pathogen Surveillance Network. That sounds really awesome. And developing a digital platform in partnership with data.org to enable real-time communication and collaboration between public health analysts and research across the globe to scale evidence-based field-tested epidemic tools, developing user-centered product strategies for existing WHO epidemic intelligence solutions to better support global public health agencies, and improving outbreak detection through Global Health Data Science Initiative in partnership with the University of Oxford and Boston University Children's Hospital, among others. Quote, climate change is increasing both the risk of another global pandemic and the need to collaborate and share data, said Dr. Rajiv Shah, president of the Rockefeller Foundation. Fortunately, the WHO Pandemic Hub is already making us smarter and safer by helping track threats, find solutions, and connect countries and continents. We're proud to partner with the Hub to expand its focus on preventing pandemics fueled by climate change. And it's like, the whole tracking threats thing, we already know what that's all about. It's really about tracking you. It's really about tracking me. It's really about tracking anybody that doesn't go along with the agenda. This is how they brought in this, entire surveillance state, police state, censorship state that we see right now. I've never seen a time where information has been more censored, where information has been more silenced, where people have been more tracked, where data has been more analyzed than it is at this very moment in time. And it's like, we're going to continue to see, in the name of safety and security, things being pushed on us that not only do we not want a part of, but are going to invade our privacy, are going to continue to lock us down in a way that we have never experienced in the past. And it's all because we went along with the first scam, basically. And I do want to preface all of this by saying I'm not a doctor. I'm not a legal professional. I'm not any of that. I'm just a dude with a YouTube channel, and I'm trying to share some information. So hopefully you guys will use your critical thinking and your discernment and get on board with the shit that's going on. It says, yep, their number one priority is division, distraction, and confusion, as if you didn't know. The enemy of the people today, a new record high, 59% of American voters view the media as enemies. Imagine that, Imagine that over half of the people see the media as the enemy. The Mockingbird media, the mainstream media, has been propagating shit that we know it's lies. So are you surprised by the fact that people are actually starting to wake up to that now and see it and embrace the fact that we're being lied to? It says there's an old episode of The Outer Limits that I'm always reminded of when I hear about Neuralink. In this episode of Stream of Consciousness, everyone is connected to a neural network except one man who can't receive the implant. And he's viewed as embellic by those who have the implant. I wonder if that's how it will be. People like me who refuse the implant will be viewed as less than by the linked population. Elon Musk, Neuralink gets FDA approved for study of brain implants in humans. And you see Elon Musk Neuralink gets the FDA approval for study of brain implants in humans. The startup tests its technology on primates for several years. This is the direction we're going, to where, you seen 1984, you read the book 1984, the thought police and all of that, we're beyond that now. We're actually experiencing something like that. They can read your thoughts, they can read your emotions, they know what you're thinking, they know how you feel about the things that are taking place now. And anybody that doesn't go along with the agenda is going to be just like the people that didn't go along with all the vaccines, right? They're going to be considered outcasts. They're going to be considered the people that not only are they toxic to the system, toxic to the population, but are nonconformist, conspiracy theorist, radical, whatever, and that's how they're going to continue to paint us from this time forward. It says Elon Musk's brain implant startup Neuralink has been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to begin the company's first human clinical study, the agency said. The company is working on a device that will allow people to control computer interfaces with their brains. Neuralink said the devices would help restore vision and enable people with severe disabilities to move and communicate by decoding brain activity. And this is how they're always going to paint this, guys. Right? Not only will they lock into your brain to be able to control what you think, what you feel, how you perceive things, things, but they're always going to paint in the name of safety and security, right? The war on drugs, the war on terrorism, the war on COVID, right? So on and so forth. It's always going to be painted in some beautiful light to try to make you think that this is something good, but it's actually, thought control, mind control, human control, in total and absolute oppression and surveillance. It says the company's working on a device to allow people to control computer interfaces with their brains. Neuralink said the devices would help restore vision and enable people with severe disabilities to move and communicate by decoding brain activity. Neuralink plans to open clinics where surgical robots will implant the devices into the brains of patients. The robot surgeon threads Neuralink proprietary electrodes of brain signal recording wires into the brain. Quote, "We are excited to share that we have received the FDA's approval to launch our first in-human clinical study," Neuralink said in a tweet. "This is a result of incredible work by the Neuralink team in close collaboration with the FDA and represents an important first step that will one day allow our technology to help many people." And it's like, think about that. Mark of the beast and all of that. Like, if there ever was anything that I think, their forehead and the right hand with the chips and all of that, it's like, would this be that? Many people thought it was the vaccines. Was that just, the preface to all of this? Was that the predecessor to what we're seeing now? Is that kind of to warm us up to this technology or to prepare us for what's coming? It says the company said it hasn't opened recruitment for its trials, but will announce more information soon. Musk said in 2019 that the company planned to apply for FDA approval for human testing, and at the time, he predicted the approval would be in place as soon as 2020. Neuralink has tested its implant technology on primates for several years, but the company released a video in April 2021 showing a monkey implanted with 2 Neuralink devices could play a video game called Pong using only his brain. During a demonstration in November, Musk showed a video of what he called telepathic typing from a monkey with Neuralink brain implant. The animal used his mind to move a cursor to images of letters during the demonstration, and clinical testing proved the Neuralink device is safe, effective long-term, and would be necessary for a brain-computer interface could be introduced to patients, neurotechnology experts have said. Musk said in December the company was working to address concerns from the FDA regarding overheating of the device, toxic chemicals seeping into the brain from the implant, and Neuralink has euthanized several of its own monkeys for suspected device-associated infections, the company said in February 2022. Neuralink said device-associated infections are an inherent risk with any medical device that is implanted through the skin. The company later developed new surgical protocols. Nice. So, if that makes you feel any better, they've developed new surgical protocols, so you don't have to worry, right? Let's take a look at the monkey mind Pong here. Let me make sure you guys have sound. Okay? In case you want to get the Neuralink yourself. And I'm sure all of you guys watching this video right now definitely want the Neuralink. I'm sure you're lined up for it and you're deciding exactly, how you're going to get it. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this to play. Alright, here we go. Maybe it's going to play. I don't know why this video isn't playing. Let me pull this up. Monkey Mind Pong on YouTube here. And everybody make sure to hit that chat if you are watching right now. Monkey Mind Pong. Here we go. Let's see if we can watch this.
This is Paige. He's a 9-year-old macaque who had a Neuralink placed in each side of his brain about 6 weeks ago. If you look carefully, you can see that the fur on his head hasn't quite fully grown back yet. He's learned to interact with a computer for a tasty banana smoothie delivered through a straw. We can interact with the Neuralinks simply by pairing them to an iPhone, just as you might pair your phone to a Bluetooth.
Let me know if you guys can hear this and see this alright too in the chat.
Links record from more than 2,000 electrodes implanted in the regions of Paige's motor cortex that coordinate hand and arm movements. Neurons in this region modulate their activity with intended hand movement. For example, some might become more active when he moves his hand up.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, guys.
By recording from many neurons and feeding their activity into a decoder.
Yeah, why would they not make it removable before implants? Yeah, Tim, I don't know, bro.
In real time. First, we calibrate the decoder.
Goes to the machine, yeah, Pablo.
Uses the joystick to move a cursor to targets presented on the screen. As he's playing this game, we're wirelessly streaming, in real time, firing rates from thousands of neurons to a computer. Using these data, we calibrate the decoder by mathematically modeling the relationship between patterns of neural activity and the different joystick movements they produce. After only a few minutes of calibration, we can use the output from the decoder to move the cursor instead of the joystick. Paige still moves the joystick out of habit, but as you can see, it's unplugged. He's controlling the cursor entirely with decoded neural activity.
Oh.
Our goal is to enable a person with paralysis to use a computer or phone with their brain activity alone. Because they wouldn't be able to move a joystick, they would calibrate the decoder by imagining hand movements to targets. One of the things the Neuralinks allow Pager to do is to play his favourite video game, Pong. To control his paddle on the right side of the screen, Pager simply thinks about moving his hand up or down. We've removed the joystick altogether. Now that he's up to speed, let's increase the difficulty and see how well Pager can play with the Neuralink.
He's playing pretty good.
As you can see, Pager is amazingly good at mind pong. He's focused, and he's playing entirely of his own volition. It's not magic. The reason Neuralink works is because it's recording and decoding electrical signals from the brain. Great game, Pager. And what better reward for a monkey than a banana?
Would you like a banana too? Would you like a banana too? Let me stick a chip in your head. You know? It's wild. It's like, that we're even at this point. It's hard to believe sometimes, guys, honestly. It's hard to believe, like, we're at the place we're at now. Common sense, logic is lost to people mesmerized by the wonder and future possibilities of Neuralink. This could get into the beta stage of being able to store the vision of people. Yeah, Chris, I absolutely agree with that. Notice the background. The monkey is in his nature surround. Or beta stage for control or shut down of certain bodily functions. Yeah, they're going to try to put this out there as like, this is for people with paralysis, this is for people with disabilities and all of that, because that's always the angle they take. You know, it's like always a medical miracle. It's always something that's like that revolutionizes the entire world and helps people in need, right? If they didn't do it that way, I'm sorry, nobody would even want anything to fucking do with it, because it's just weird. You know, it's like, but if they do it that way, right, then everybody thinks it's some beautiful fucking thing, and, you know, here we are. It says, can't wait to topple another woke corporation off its high horse. Let's get this going. Right, Target loses $9 billion in 1 week and tells Bud Light to hold its beer. How about that? It's like this whole woke fucking shit, I don't know. Target loses $9 billion in 1 week and tells Bud Light to officially hold its beer. You know, and we all know what this is from. If you thought Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light stock was sinking like a brick, wait till you see what's going on over at Target. The major retailer has reportedly lost $9 billion over the past week in the wake of the controversial Kids Pride section being displayed in several stores. Let me see if I can pull this up so you can see. Target is in real severe danger after waving woke politics in customers' faces, critics warn. Says the CEO should be nervous about backlash over pride displays. Now, let's see if we can get this to play here. Pride products of the company faces real severe danger of suffering damage to their bottom line the same way as Bud Light. And this is like kids' pride shit. It's like the whole sexualization of children. We're going to get into all that in just a second. Let's see.
Pride merchandise, the damage control mode, coming as it desperately tries to avoid a so-called Bud Light situation. A Target insider telling Fox News Digital, quote, "We were given 36 hours, told to take all the Pride stuff and move it into a section that is a third of the size, from the front of the store to the back. I think given the current situation with Bud Light, the company is terrified." Outkick founder Clay Travis joins us now. Good morning, Clay.
Morning. How are you, Ainsley?
Doing well. What's your reaction to this?
I think it's an important message that Bud Light has sent all over the entire nation.
People ain't on
has
it.
ever had to react to losing, as Bud Light is, according to current data, 28% of its overall sales volume as a result of going too far left wing, too far woke. And now I think it's not just Target. There are marketing companies all over the world that are having meetings with big brands and saying, let's avoid being Bud Lighted. And what I would point out is Bud Light's
Let's avoid being Bud Lighted. They hold an emergency meeting over their LGBTQ products. It's like, it's not that they had the pride shit, right? Everybody, I feel like, I don't care where you stand on this, unless you're like super Christian weirdo. But like, everybody supports gay people. We love our LGBTQ community. It's like they deserve their own rights. They deserve marriage. They deserve all of it. But when you start pushing it down our necks and try to like force it onto little children, yeah, that's when we draw the line. It's like, it wouldn't be cool no matter what sexuality it was. Like, even heterosexuality. You don't force sex on kids at all. And it's like, these people are taking fucking nosedives because they can't get it through their goddamn heads that we don't want this. You know? And it's like, I hope these companies, they won't go bankrupt because they're giant corporate conglomerates and, you know, they own so much. But it's like, I wish these companies would go belly the fuck up from the shit that they're doing, trying to push this woke agenda on all of us. It's like, we don't want it, you know? We don't want our kids sexualized in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's hetero, homo, it doesn't matter. We don't want sex pushed on our children, you know? It's like, until these people actually understand that, you know, they're going to continue to get smoked on their bottom line. Because they're just so out of touch with fucking reality. So this is a guy that starts a fire in a dumpster just outside of Texas Attorney General office just hours after news broke that they allegedly violated law, facing possible impeachment vote. Do you think it's related? At least it's a very strange coincidence, isn't it? Here's the video. Arson suspect sought after the fire started outside Texas Attorney General. And I'll just show you the fire being lit outside the Texas Attorney General. It's like, do you think it's related? Fuck yeah, it's related. You know? Nobody's stupid. You know? We know what's going on. And I want to say, everybody that's watching this right now, make sure to hit that like, hit that thumbs up. It really helps with the algorithms. Leave a comment if you're watching this now or on the flip side. Make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and please, 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 donate and support to the channel. It helps me out so much. I recently moved and I definitely need the support, so please donate, support, PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App. I would appreciate it greatly. Thank you guys so much for all that you do too. I love you all so much. Yeah, it's like a dumpster fire. Come the fuck on. We know why they do it, right? It's looking very bad for Europe. German economy enters recession and things will get worse. Europe is totally dependent on Russian energy. The only little difference now is that the European countries are paying 3 times the price for the same Russian gas and oil, neither from India or China, as well as lots of gas and oil from the USA and Canada. The EU declares no longer dependent on Russian energy. Yeah, this is like a big thing. This is all part of the WW3 shit, right? We continue to push into this, and I don't know if we'll ever go to physical war with Russia and China. I assume we probably will one day, but at this point right now, you see NATO, EU, the US, they're totally backing off of Russia and China, and it's vice versa, right? The other side's backing off of us as well. So we have the magnitude 6.1 to shake eastern Japan. No tsunami warning. At least 20 such interactions in May. The killer whales damaged a boat in the latest Orca incident off the Spain coast. Of course, they're going to demonize killer whales. And just another sinkhole in Galveston, Texas. The weird weather. Look at that. Dude's fucking car is like halfway into the ground. Right? It's like, yeah, that's natural. Imagine if you pulled your car up and it just, in a parking lot, it sunk into the ground. Okay, yeah. And winter-like conditions have returned to the summit of Mount Washington yesterday morning with just over an inch of new snowfall and temperatures hovering in the 20s. And it's like the weird weather continues. It's like they continue to push this on the atmospheric rivers and all of that. It's like probably just really geoengineering at the end of the day. You know, when you modify the weather, when you use nanoparticulates in the atmosphere, and you use electromagnetism to push and pull all these currents in different directions, you're going to have some funky shit going on. So the undisputed dominance of the U.S. dollar is receding while nobody across the world will be refusing greenbacks in the near future. The trend is clear. Many global South economies are looking for alternatives to reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar. The de-dollarization is happening.
Fact. The undisputed dominance of the U.S. dollar is receding. While nobody across the world will be refusing greenbacks in the near future, the trend is clear. Many global South economies are looking for alternatives to reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar. Globally, it's accelerating a process called de-dollarization. Now, with the exception of countries already subject to U.S. sanctions, the idea of anything superseding the dollar was once unthinkable to most countries. But then Russia invaded Ukraine.
The sanctions we impose exceed anything that's ever been done.
The U.S. and the West were right to respond to Russia's aggression. But by sanctioning and unplugging Moscow from the global financial system, Washington also rattled many emerging economies, pushing them to chase alternatives. China took notice,
which was
and encouraged
intentional.
much of the world to follow suit, accelerating a wave that's been chipping away at dollar hegemony.
There is a risk when we use financial sanctions that are linked to the role of the dollar, that over time it could undermine the hegemony of the dollar, as you said. This is an extremely important tool we try to use judiciously.
The reality is that the weaponization of the dollar as a blunt and scorn statement is giving U.S. allies and adversaries an opening to look for alternative settlement mechanisms. For example, Russia is selling its natural gas to China in Chinese yuan. France just sold its first LNG shipment to China in yuan. China and Brazil will be settling all their bilateral trade in Chinese yuan. The BRIC countries are in discussion for a unified BRICS currency to bypass the US dollar entirely. And the list goes on and on and on.
And this is really intentional. This is to undermine the dollar. This is to push people towards, they want to create a one world currency. We all know that. The central bank digital currency, all of that, right? This is all been to undermine the U.S. currency and create higher inflation, which we now see like affecting us. And we've talked about scorched earth and like this slow and meticulous attack on the United States for this implosion to bring about this one world government, which we know this one world system's already in place. How do we know? Because we've seen the pandemic, right? We watch the entire world kind of, capitulate and get on bending knee at the same time and do the same protocols, and that's no coincidence. Well, now we're watching the currency transition into something totally different, and you see the inflation prices right now. It's like, do you actually make the wages necessary to pay your rent like you used to? Do you actually make the wages necessary to buy groceries like you used to? Probably not, It's really hard to even take care of ourselves at this point in the game, and that's because we see the de-dollarization taking place. It's all part of this one world system, this one world agenda, which is a new world order that will be coming into fruition sooner rather than later, So, NYC professor cursed out anti-abortion students, chases New York Post reporter with machete.
Let's get out of here. Can't do
This
that.
is so fake. This is so fake. By the way, just saying. Are you scared? No, I'm not. Chasing him with a machete. He's like, this shit is staged. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is totally staged. Dude is not scared one bit of her. I wouldn't be either, and nobody would be. It's like, to bring attention to anti-abortion, to bring attention to whatever they're trying to bring attention to. There's no such thing as a grassroots movement at all anymore. It's like the liberal media, the liberal agenda. It's like, it's about as real as reality fucking TV, just to be honest. So you can believe that if you want to believe it. You can take that with a grain of salt, like I said, but most of this is just horseshit. Whistleblower drops 100 gigabytes of Tesla secrets. The files contain over 1,000 accidents reports involving phantom braking or unintended acceleration, mostly in the US and Germany. A German news outlet sifted through over 23,000 of Tesla's internal files and found a disturbing trend of brushing off customers complaining about dangerous autopilot glitches while covering the company's ass. The publication Handelsblatt got its hands on the data through an unnamed informant. Handelsblatt confirmed the data's authenticity of Fraunhofer Institute for Secure Information Technology, which found no evidence of doctoring or fabrication in the files. Tesla attempted to stop the publication from using this data and its reporting and even threatened legal action against Handelsblatt. The publication, however, decided this was one of the extraordinary circumstances when reporting on such data breach would be legal under European Union law. The Tesla files contain more than 2,400 self-acceleration complaints and more than 1,500 braking function problems, including 139 cases of unintentional emergency braking, 383 reported phantom stops, resulting from false collision warnings. The number of crashes is more than 1,000. A tale of incidents involving driver assistance systems where customers have expressed safety concerns has more than 300 entries. And the oldest complaints available to Handelsblatt date from 2015, the most recent from March 2022. During this period, Tesla delivered around 2.6 million vehicles with the autopilot software. So most of the incidents took place in the US, but are also complaints from Europe and Asia, and the documents including many from German Tesla drivers. So it's like, now all of a sudden, all of the, autopilot, this auto driving shit with the Tesla cars, right, is coming out showing like it's not as airtight as people once thought, and I see so many fucking Teslas now. I feel like everybody owns a Tesla, you know what I mean, except me. So who knows, maybe people will see that, there's error within humans, and there's going to be error within, automation as well, AI as well. It says the FBI reveals the 1980s plot to kill Queen Elizabeth II by an RIA sympathizer who frequented the same bar as an agent and told him about his plan to exact revenge for the killing of his daughter. The title is very unclear. It makes it easy to assume the FBI or US were the ones planning it and fessed up. And let's bring this up right here. The FBI reveals the 1980s plot to kill Queen Elizabeth II. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has released a cache of files relating to the late Queen's travels to the U.S. following her death last year. They show how the FBI, who helped secure the monarch's safety during her visits, worried about IRA threats. The assassination threat was made to a police officer in San Francisco. According to the file, an officer who frequented an Irish pub in San Francisco warned federal agents about a call from a man he had met at the venue. The officer said the man told him he was seeking revenge for his daughter who had been killed in Northern Ireland by a rubber bullet. The threat came on the 4th of February 1983, about a month ahead of Queen Elizabeth II and her husband Prince Philip's visit to California. Quote, he was going to attempt to harm Queen Elizabeth and would do this either by dropping some object off at the Golden Gate Bridge onto the royal yacht Britannia when it sails underneath, or would attempt to kill Queen Elizabeth when it visited Yosemite National Park. The document says, in response to the threat, the Secret Service had planned to close the walkways in the Golden Gate Bridge and the yacht nears, and it unclear whether the measures were taken to Yosemite, but the visit went ahead. No details of the rest were published. The 102-page cache was uploaded to the vault from the FBI's information website on Monday following a Freedom of Information Act requested and submitted by the U.S. media outlets. I find that interesting. It's like I wonder if they were actually going to, kill her, or this is just kind of something that they put out there to kind of, make you think one way when really it was something else. You never know when it comes to the FBI, the CIA, or the United States government in general. I think that they have a million plans to kill every politician. It's like anybody who ever gets out of line, they're not going to allow to continue to do what they're doing. And, the Queen of England is not immune to that. Earth has received its first alien message. Yeah, that's right, you ET lovers. Earth received its first alien message. Well, almost. A simulated alien message was sent from Mars at 3 p.m. Eastern today. A trio of telescopes around the world intercepted the message 16 minutes later. Now you can help scientists decipher it. The Earth receives its first alien message. Scientists capture a simulated ET signal that you can help scientists decode. And humans are one step closer to communicating with aliens. The SETI Institute, nonprofit dedicated to understanding life in space, simulated extraterrestrial signal that was beamed from a Mars orbiter at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. The radio waves soared through space at the speed of light and were captured by the massive telescopes in 18 minutes. The first of its kind exercise was designed to prepare scientists for the profoundly transformational experience for all humankind when otherworldly beings contact our planet. Scientists in the US and Italy were overjoyed as the message appeared on computer screens, which downloaded the radio waves in sections. People on Earth with ham radio also picked it up at 8.4 gigahertz, although it was not the entire signal. The team is keeping key details about the stunt secret, including the type of signal and what it includes. The type it is because the encoded transmission will be shared with the public, allowing them to help with the decoding. And it's like, I wonder if they're preparing all of us for something more in the future. A lot of people, when you look at like Project Bluebeam and all of that, believe that, fake alien invasions, all of that is in the very near future. It's like, like Reagan said, to bring about the New World Order, an external threat, right, would be the key to do that. So an alien threat would be the key to do that, to kind of get the world to officially come together in some capacity. It's like if we were worried about, ETs bothering us, and it's like, I feel like so many people buy into the ET thing already. We've been conditioned to accept that as fact, as reality, without any basis of proof or truth whatsoever, whether it's like military technology that we're seeing in the skies that we call UFOs, or it's electromagnetic energy. Like, people just don't do the research on this one. They buy into all these UFO shows and all of that, and they think that Pleiadians and Arcturians and whatever else, right, are channeling messages to us. And it's like, even the people that claim to be woke, buy into this, whether it's fallen angels, whether it's just government psyops. It doesn't really matter. We have no proof that any of this is even close to true, but yet still, I would say more than half the population buy into this. So if they was to fake some type of event, it would probably be extremely successful, and it'd be used to bring in more control, more surveillance, just like every other thing that we've ever seen happen has been used to do so. So, you can believe whatever you want. I'm not here to judge you for it. I'm just here to say I don't believe that this is even close to true. I don't believe there are extraterrestrials. If they are, they're an extension of us. Switzerland about to vote on the extension of the Swiss COVID Act. Government wants to extend the law even if the pandemic is over. And it's like, this just shows you how badly governments want to control, what's going on. COVID is over, but they're going to continue to push this. The Swiss are the only people in the world have been able to vote on their pandemic management laws. On June 18th, they'll vote on the COVID-19 law for the third time. I support the referendum committee, and I am against the extension of the C-19 law. The coronavirus remains unpredictable. It's hard to say with any certainty how it will develop, blah, blah, blah. The possibility that dangerous variants of the virus will emerge again cannot be ruled out. Parliament has therefore extended the period of application for the legal provisions on certain measures of the COVID-19 Act until mid-2024. This enables authorities to act quickly in an emergency to protect particularly vulnerable people and healthcare systems. A referendum has been called against the extension. These emergency powers are just absolute, total control. We've all seen what this all really is by now. So the fact that they're even continuing to push this is absolute fucking insanity. And the fact nobody even says anything about it is even crazier, just to keep it all the way real with you guys. It's like, where are we at this point in the game? If we're just allowing this shit to continue, if we're going to allow them to keep pushing fucking laws on us with no proof of any of this. It's a 30-minute warning before killer storm hits the earth based on AI computational models. I think it's much less. And it's like the solar storms, the solar radiation, the geomagnetic storms. We're now having AI kind of predict all of this, and show us that we're in far more danger from geomagnetism, electromagnetic energy than anything else in the world. This is disgusting. Boycott Los Angeles Dodgers. The group will be special guests for the Dodgers Gay Pride event. They've learned nothing from Bud Light and Target. Enough is enough. They have Jesus on the cross as they're doing the striptease. I don't know. It's so fucking crazy. It's so crazy. And you're right. They just haven't learned anything. But I mean, to each their own, right? The Club of Rome. How climate hysteria is being used to create global governance. In the early 1970s and the U.S., much of the Western world was shifting into stagflationary economic crisis. Nixon removed the dollar completely from the gold standard in 71 in the aid of the Federal Reserve, or perhaps under the direction of the Fed, which ultimately escalated inflation pressures. Europe's post-war boom became an abrupt end, which prices on goods and gasoline in the U.S. skyrocketed up until 81 and 82, while the Federal Reserve jacked interest rates up to around 20% and created a deliberate recessionary crash. Interestingly, the IMF created the SDR system in 69, and just before the gold standard was cut, the same SDR, which the IMF is poised to use as the foundation of the global digital currency mechanism, and the World Economic Forum was founded in 1971. The time period is often depicted in films as a happy-go-lucky era of disco, drugs, hippies, and rock and roll, but the reality is that the early 70s was the beginning of the end for the West. It was the moment that our economic foundations were sabotaged and the affluence of the middle class was slowly but surely stolen by inflation. In the midst of the economic malaise, which Jimmy Carter later referred to as a crisis of confidence, the United Nations and associated globalist roundtable groups were hard at work developing a scheme to convince the population to embrace global centralization of power. Their goals were rather direct. They wanted, and here's a list, a rationale for government control of human population numbers, the power to limit industry, the power to control energy production and dictate energy sources, the power to control or limit food production and agriculture, the ability to micromanage individuals' lives in the name of some later defined greater good, a socialized society in which the individual's right to property is abandoned, a one-world economic system which they would manage, a one-world currency system, a one-world government managing a handful of separate regions. And one of the most revealing quotes on the agenda comes from the Clinton administration's Deputy Secretary of State, Strobe Talbot, who stated in Time magazine that in the next century, nations as we know it will be obsolete. All states will recognize single global authority. National sovereignty wasn't such a great idea after all. And right here, Central Bank Digital Currency Monetary Authority launches international CBDC. So we're pushing for that now. It says in the next century, nations as we know it will be obsolete, blah, blah, blah. To understand how the agenda functions, I offer a quote from the Globalist Council on Foreign Relations member Richard Gardner, an article in Foreign Relations magazine titled The Hard Road to the World Order. And you can see right here, there it is. Make the hard road to the world order. The quest for a world structure for secure peace, advances in human rights, and provide the condition for economic progress for that is loosely called world order has never seemed more frustrating, but at the same time, strangely hopeful. Certainly the gap has never loomed larger between the objectives and the capacities of the international organizations that were supposed to get mankind on the road to world order. So it's like they're well on their way with that. It says the forerunner of the nations was a prehistoric band clustered around a few beside a river and valley. Its members had a language, a set of supernatural beliefs, and repertoire of legends about their ancestors. Eventually, they forged primitive weapons and set off over the mountain, mumbling phrases that would be loosely translated as having something to do with viral national interest, manifest destiny. And when they reached the next valley, they massacred and enslaved some weaker band of people they found clustered around some smaller fire, and thus became the world's first imperialist. Empires were a powerful force for obliterating natural and demographic barriers and forging connection among the far-flung parts of the world. The British left their system of civil service in India, Kenya, Guyana, while the Spaniards, Portuguese, and French spread Roman Catholicism to almost every continent. Empire eventually yielded to the nation-state, made up primarily of single tribe. China, France, Germany, and Japan are surviving examples, yet each of them is the consequence of centuries-long process of accretion. It took the shedding of much blood in many valleys from Normandy, Brittany, and Gascony to become part of France. Today, fewer than 10% of the 186 countries on Earth are ethnically homogeneous. The rest are multinational states. Most of them have pushed their boundaries outward, often until they reach the sea. That's how California became part of the U.S. and Kamchatka Peninsula part of Russia. The main goal during the process of political expansion and consolidation was conquest. The big absorbed the small, the strong the weak. National made international right. Such a world was in more or less constant state of war. From time to time, the best minds wondered whether this wasn't a hell of a way to run a planet. Perhaps national sovereignty wasn't such a great idea after all. And Dante in the 4th century, Aramis in the 16th, and Grotius in the 17th all envisioned international law as a means of overcoming the natural tendency of states to settle their differences by force. So, just like the Iron Mountain Report in the 60s, right, the end of the perpetual war system is how they bring in the one world system, and it's like we see that now. We're already at that point. You know, somebody tweeted us today, they would be hunted down, tortured, and imprisoned. While countries can preserve its liberties, if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people will preserve the spirit of resistance, let them take arms. The remedy is to set them right as to facts, pardon and pacify them. What signifies a few lives lost in a century or two? The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants in its natural manure. Thomas Jefferson. And you know, it's more true than anything. You know, if we were to even say or comment anything close to that today, you know, it wouldn't be allowed. People would be blocked, shadow banned, fucking cut out of society, their business would be shut down. It's absolutely crazy. John enjoyed more than us. Yeah, I do enjoy it. You know, deep inside these weirdos, they know it's not normal behaviors. Well, you know what? We're just at the point, guys, to where everything is fucking wonky. You know, it's like our entire world is upside down. You know, how do you convince anyone of what's normal, what's natural, what's right, when they're constantly, you know, propagated and pushed with what isn't? You know, we live in a perverse, weird, abstract reality. It's like only those who hold on to their morals, I think, will survive. Only those who know their moral compass, where they stand in all of this, will be on the right side of history when all this is said and done. You know, I've even watched all the people that are so-called woke or awake or spiritual change drastically over the last couple of years. It's like, If we're not willing to give, if we're not willing to love, if we're not willing to be there for one another, for ourselves, how can we be there for anyone else? You know, people have become so self-absorbed because of social media and just out of touch with reality as a whole. Thank you. I appreciate that. From the Crucified. You know, it's like, you know, I don't want to sound like old or whatever, but I do miss the good old days. I miss when people had a moral compass. I miss when people were loving, when people were giving, when we cared about how we did one another. You know, it's like a selfish, self-absorbed world now. Sorry you're late. No, it's all good. You know, it's all good. Whether you're late or not, I'm glad that you watch. You know, I want everybody to know it's like it's up to you at the end of the day to make a difference in this world. You know, you make a difference in people's lives whether you believe you do or not. Honestly. You know, whether it's just like giving somebody a compliment, you know, helping somebody that's hungry, giving to people, or just trying to be like a little bit better than you were yesterday. Like without you guys, I promise you, there would be nothing but darkness. And I know I'm not able to make videos like I used to, or as much as I used to, or do as many deep dives as I used to, but I want you to know, like, each and every one of you are like so important to the scheme of things. You know, you're literally raising human consciousness and awareness in ways that you probably can't even fathom or imagine. You probably have such a bigger impact than you ever thought you would. You know, it's like we have an opportunity right now to move forward, to do bigger, to do better, to give more, to love more. You know, it's like up to us whether we rise to the occasion or not. So many people have become so complacent and like just accepted the world for how it is. It's like we don't have to though. You know, we can understand what it is, but we don't have to just accept it and take it lying down. You know, we get to decide what the future is by shaping it now, in the present moment. So I just want to ask you the question, like, what are you shaping your future into? What are you shaping your family into? What are you shaping yourself into? And if you can live with it, if you're okay with it, if it doesn't bother you, then good. But if you know that you can do more, if you can do better, if you can give more, if you can love more, then why aren't you? You know, you're not letting anybody down but yourself. You know, and those around you that probably could benefit from you in so many different ways. So I hope everybody out there is having an awesome week, had a great holidays, having an awesome summer so far. I'll probably do a video tomorrow as well. I'm off tomorrow, so I'm going to try to crank out some videos, crank out some tarot. If you want to book your own personal tarot reading, text 513-393-2396 or email therealbestdampodcast@gmail.com. Right now, I desperately need donations and support. So please, 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 if you guys are watching this, if you catch us on the flip side, donate. Every little bit counts. I don't care if it's $1. Please donate to me. I definitely need it and appreciate it right now. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, and everybody who does, thank you so much. Seriously, like, I appreciate it so much if you do. Make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, hit the like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I just wanted to drop something tonight and give you guys a little something to think about, a little something to watch. Tomorrow we'll have a full live show. Make sure you support, make sure you subscribe. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Peace.